This is Top Accolade Global News Updates. I am Soy Bifa Jackridge. The death of Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi comes at a time of growing dissent without Iran over an array of political, social, and economic crises. Iran's clerical rulers face international pressure over Tehran's disputed nuclear program and its deepening military ties with Russia during war in Ukraine. Since Iran's ally Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, leading to Israel's assault on Gaza, conflagrations involving Iran-aligned groups have erupted throughout the Middle East. In Iran's dual political system, split between the clerical establishment and the government, it is Raisi's 85-year-old mentor, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, supreme leader since 1989, who holds decision-making power on all major policies. 4 years, many saw Raisi as a strong contender to succeed Khamenei, who has endorsed Raisi's main policies. Raisi's victory in a closely managed election in 2021 brought all branches of power under the control of hardliner after 8 years when the presidency had been held by pragmatist Hassan Rouhani and a nuclear deal negotiated with power including Washington. However, Raisi's standing may have been dented by widespread protests against clerical rule and a failure to turn around Iran's economy hamstrung by Western sanctions. Telsa is working to appease some European leasing companies after the automaker repeated retail price cuts tanked their fleet value and its slow service and expensive repairs alienated their corporate customers. The efforts include unofficial discounts on purchases of new cars if they are in stock and efforts to address widespread service, repair and ordering compliance after years in which fleet managers and leasing firms say Telsa has ignored those problems. According to an interview with 9 executives from major leasing and rental car firms, along with about a dozen corporate fleet managers. Telsa's retail price cuts aimed to bolster sales in response to softening electric vehicle demand globally and rising competition, especially from Chinese EV makers such as BYD, but has damaged the bottom lines of its biggest customers in Europe, where fleet purchases represent nearly half of auto sales. Leasing companies buy new cars and arrange leases calculated on how much they believe they can sell them for at least end of the lease. Sudden drops in price undercuts those residual values, costing leasing firms money. There's nothing worse than continuously dropping the value of a fleet buyer's assets, said Richard Knockben, Director General of Brussels-based Lease Europe, a leasing and rental industry group which represents national groups across 31 countries. Telsa is now actively telling our members, we can give you discounts and compensate you, Knockben said. But Telsa's residual have dropped so fast, I'm not sure the discounts they are offering are enough. Telsa's falling resale values and tensions with fleet customers are known, but its damage control campaign to address them has not been previously reported. A top executive at a large European car leasing firm, who spoke on condition of anonymity because he did not have permission to comment publicly on Telsa, said that starting in mid-2023, Telsa offered unofficial end-of-quarter discounts on its Model 3 and Model Y by up to €2,000, that is $2,134, for leasing company purchases if those vehicles were in stock. South Africa's top court ruled on Monday that former President Jacob Zuma was not eligible to run for parliament in this month's election, a closely watched decision as it could affect the outcome. Zuma, who was forced to quit as president in 2018, has fallen out with the governing African National Congress (ANC) and has been campaigning for a new party called Umkhonto weSizwe (MK), named after the ANC's formed armed wing. Opinion polls suggest the ANC's majority is at risk after 30 years in power, and MK represents a threat to it, especially in Zuma's home province of KwaZulu-Natal, where he is popular. The case before the Constitutional Court stems from a decision in March by South Africa's Electoral Commission to disqualify Zuma on the basis that the Constitution prohibits anyone given a prison sentence of 12 months or longer from holding a parliamentary seat. In 2021, Zuma was sentenced to 15 months in in jail for failing to appear at a corruption inquiry. In April, a court overturned the disqualification, saying the relevant section of the constitution applied only to people who had a chance to appeal against their sentences, which has not been Zuma's case. The Electoral Commission then challenged that decision in the Constitutional Court. It is declared that Mr. Zuma was convicted of an offense and sentenced to more than 12 months imprisonment, and is accordingly not eligible to be a member of and not qualified to stand for election to the National Assembly, the Constitutional Court said in its ruling. In 2021, Zuma's jailing triggered riots in KwaZulu-Natal, in which more than 300 people died and which morphed into a wider spate of looting. A federal judge blocked the Biden administration from fully implementing a new rule that would require gun dealers to obtain licenses and conduct background checks when selling firearms at gun shows and online. U.S. District Judge Matthew Kacsmaryk in Amarillo temporarily restrained the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive rule from being enforced in Republican-led Texas or against members of several gun rights groups. The U.S. Department of Justice, which is defending the rule in court, did not respond to a request for comments. Kacsmaryk, an appointee of Republican former President Donald Trump, issued his ruling ahead of the rule in response to a lawsuit by Texas, gun rights advocates, and 3 other Republican-led states. The lawsuits challenged the rule finalized last month that Democrat President Joe Biden's administration said would affect more than 23,000 unlicensed dealers and tens of thousands of gun sales annually by closing the gun show loophole. Under the rule, those selling weapons at gun shows, other venues, and over the internet are subject to the same requirements as gun stores to check the background of potential buyers. Kacsmaryk, in his ruling, agreed with the plaintiffs that the rule's provisions contradicted the text of the Bipartisan and Safer Communities Act, a 2022 law that broadened the category of gun sellers required to obtain licenses. He faulted the rule for not allowing people who buy or sell firearms for personal protection from being considered eligible for a statutory exemption to the licensing requirements for people who buy or sell guns for a personal collection. Guns rights groups whose members are covered by Kacsmaryk's order includes the Gun Owner of America, which boasts 2 million members. The judge, though, found Louisiana, Mississippi, and Utah failed to establish they had standing to challenge the rule, and he declined to block its enforcement in their jurisdictions. His order remains in effect until June 2nd, pending further litigation. Saudi King Salman will undergo treatment at Al Salman Palace in Jeddah for a lung inflammation, the state's news agency said, hours after he underwent medical tests. Citing the royal court, the state's news agency said that 88-year-old king would be treated with antibiotics until the inflammation subsides. Due to King Salman's health issue, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the de facto Saudi leader, postponed a visit to Japan that had been scheduled to begin on Monday. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi said Saudi Arabia informed the Japanese government that due to the health condition of King Salman of Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince Mohammed's visit to Japan, which had been scheduled to begin on the 20th, had to be postponed, Hayashi said at a news conference in Tokyo. Earlier, King Salman underwent a medical test at the royal clinics at Al Salman Palace due to high temperature and joint pain, the Saudi state news agency said. The king was last admitted to hospital in April for a routine checkup, state TV reported. Then, King Salman, the custodian of Islam's holiest sites, became ruler of the world's top oil exporter in 2015 after spending more than 2 to 1.5 years as the crown prince and deputy premier. His illness struck just as the crown prince met with U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan in the kingdom for talks on a strategic agreement between Washington and Riyadh. Saudi Arabia's embassy in Japan did not immediately respond to a request for comments about the crown prince's cancelled trip. He had been set to meet with Japanese Emperor Naruhito and Prime Minister Fumio Kishida during the trip scheduled from May 20th to 23. That is the size of top accolade global news updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Monday.